Okay, so we just finished talking about it. We want to find the surface area of the rectangular prism. We're looking at all the exposed surfaces, just add them together. Just like wrapping paper on a present, as we're doing this, watch out for symmetry. For top and bottom, two equal rectangles, left and right, two equal rectangles, same with front and back. Okay, be careful of your measurements. This 2 centimeters of the height at the back is also the height of the front. Okay, so you're not going to have the measurements given on every single surface. You have to understand how it's put together. So let's quickly do a top and a bottom. So that top and the bottom will be 3 by 8, which equals 24. How many do we have? 2, right? So what can we do? Times it by 2, 48. Okay. Then we have a left and a right. What would be the measurements of the left and the right? This side right here, 2 by 8. And since we have 2 of them, double it. Okay. The last one would be front and the back. What are the measurements of that? 3 by 2. Okay. And that's just one of them, but we need 2. Double it. Add them all up. Okay. 8 plus 4. Carry your 1. And 4 and 3 is 7. And 2 is 9. So 92 centimeters squared. Okay. There's your answer. Put your answer in a box. Easy to find, easy to mark. Any questions? Okay. Good. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make a quick drawing. Here we have a jewelry box, and we only give the dimensions. What are the dimensions? 10. Yeah, what's the symbol right by the 10? Inches. Okay. So start by drawing the rectangular front. Then draw lines backwards. Okay, then connect it and put your units on, please. Good. So then do your front and back, left and right, top and bottom. Go ahead, all by yourself, real quick. 190 square inches, or inches squared, although it's apparently not correct, but we're still going to go with it. Okay, so I think with the imperial you're supposed to say square inches, but we're not going to, because we're more used to that. Any questions about what I did? Okay, did I double everything? Yeah, okay. Now, if you didn't want to do front and back, like if you had these orders switched up, that's okay. As long as you're labeling your work and you're doing a method, right, that makes sense. No problems with that. All right. But if you're just randomly throwing numbers down, punching your calculator, now we got a problem because you're not learning how to write your math properly and explain yourself to someone else that's reading your work. Okay. Just like English, you learn to write paragraphs. In math, you need to learn to write math so others can understand what you did. Okay. Next, surface area of a triangular prism. Okay. All right. So we have 5 faces, 3 rectangles, and 2 triangles. So let's find the area of 2 triangles. We have base times height divided by 2. What would be the base and the height? Base is 4, height's 3, or vice versa. You could totally switch those up. It doesn't matter. All right. Divide by 2. So we get 6. What do we have to do now? Times by 2? Why? Good. Okay, so always keep that in mind, and we get 12. I don't like this. I don't like you got like I like that you understand it. Okay, and then cancel. I don't mind if you write that, but I hate this. This is just horrible because now you're not sure what you're really doing. You're getting into a bad habit. Okay, so this is good, shows understanding and knowledge. This is bad, because you're just kind of faking it, all right? Is that clear? But there's nothing wrong with just doing what I did, because that's totally easy to follow as well. So you kind of have two options. Those are them. Your choice on that. But don't do the shortcut, because then you're going to screw yourself up, all right? Good. Next, 3 rectangular faces. Have a look at the diagram. What measurement is shared by all 3 rectangles? Well, let's have a look. What's the rectangle? What's the measurements of this rectangle right on the front? 5 by 10. Okay. Let's have a look at the other one then. What about the rectangle on the back? This one right here. 3 by 10. What about the rectangle on the left at the back? This one here. 4 by 10. You've got to be careful with your measurements for the rectangle. Which measurement applies to all rectangles? 10. Okay. So there's going to be one that applies to them all, but our triangle has 3 different measurements. So that's why we have 3 different rectangles. Okay. Go for it. Find the area of all 3. Triangular prism. Okay. What measurement is shared by all 3 rectangles? What do you think? Nope. 7 is just going to be this measurement of this one here. Okay, the top and the bottom. 6. Okay, 6 is for all 3 rectangles. Your triangle has a height of 2.8, base of 7. Right? So find the area of your triangles. Okay, so add them all up. 19.6 plus 42 plus 30 plus 24. What do we get? 100 and... Oh, now you're not going to say it, are you? $115.6? Is that correct? Hands up if you got that. Okay, awesome. All right. Any questions? No? Okay. Do you guys see what I did up here? I did take that shortcut, but I showed it. I wrote it down so I could see that I made sure I had the correct number of triangles, the correct pieces. Okay, the times 2 and the divide by 2 are opposites. They cancel each other out. But if you don't write it, you're not really getting it. Okay, so just do it the long way. Better safe than sorry. Okay, example number 5. You know what you should do, Hamaya? I'm going to get you to do your test right now and start that, okay? Because I think you'll be able to do the other part pretty good. Okay. If you run out of time, I'll give you some more time tomorrow, okay? Okay, so here we go. What about the shape is kind of odd? What's going on here? Looking at surface area and all the stuff that we talked about, Tristan?
There's 2 prisms.
2 prisms, exactly. Anything special about that? No? Yep, Jack. So this little rectangle where they're touching, you said it's kind of special? And you're saying we don't need to include that in our calculations. Is that correct? Why? Exactly. So if we take this object and we dip it into a can of paint, that rectangle is not getting painted because it's on the inside. It's not on the surface. Okay? So you don't include it. What about the bottom? Would the bottom get painted if we dipped it into paint? Totally would. All right. So even though it looks like a house, it's not a real house, which means we have to include the bottom. It's like it's suspended in space. All right. Good. So you've got to make sure you're very careful about finding all the pieces, not doubling things up. What should we find the area of first? Triangles. Good. And let's call it 2 because there are 2 triangles. What else can we find the area of? What can we use to describe this slant? Area of the rectangle, the roof, something like that. Or we can call it this area of the slant. Make sure you have 2 of them. We're going to assume that's an isosceles triangle. Okay. And then we have left and the right, front and the back. And what else would we have? Not a top and a bottom. Just the bottom. Okay. I'm going to highlight this because I'm going to try and I want you to be careful with it. Okay. Go ahead. I haven't given you all the information you need, but try and figure this out, okay? Show your work.